Hello, welcome to Rhetorical with Rupinder. What is Rhetorical with Rupinder? Well, it's a series that I am starting today, in which I will talk about the art of the rhetoric or the art of public speaking. I actually chose Rhetorical with Rupinder since it made for a nice alliteral. The key feature of this series is that it is going to be unedited. I am recording the Zoom video and I'm sharing it with you, and I'm not going to edit it at all. So this is going to come to you directly as it is. It is going to come from the heart. Hopefully it will register in the mind. Why unedited? Because I feel that a lot of learning happens in an informal environment. And I want to leverage that informal environment. Informal environment can be discussions around a coffee machine or somebody just rambling their thoughts over the internet like I am doing right now. Hopefully, I will make it interesting for you. What am I going to do? I'm going to talk about what is RWR. I'm almost done with that. I'm going to talk about what is rhetoric. Then I'll tell you who I am as to why you should be listening to me. And what do I intend to do with RWR? Then we're going to go into today's topic and we'll take it from there. Let's see how it goes. So, first and foremost, formally, while we are talking in an informal learning environment, what is RWR? RWR is Rhetorical with Rupinder. It is an attempt on my part to teach you the art of the rhetoric or the art of speaking in public. What is rhetoric? Well, rhetoric is a term. If you look up Google or if you look up any dictionary, it will tell you it is the art of persuasive speaking or writing to a mass public, to public at large. But more importantly, I think rhetoric is also the art of speaking your heart out, of expressing yourself. So, why expressing yourself? Because as you go through your day, you come across many opportunities to express yourself. There's a phone over here, so I keep on getting messages. So I was glancing there. And of course, there is a notepad over here. I have written the topics that I'm going to cover today. So I was on what is rhetoric, and I was talking about expressing myself. It is the art of expressing yourself to give the best possible answer. And today, hopefully, you will see how to give the best possible answer. But who am I to tell you all of this? You see, if you were to scrounge the internet, you would find a lot of stuff on public speaking, on maybe debating, on maybe how to do a presentation, and from far more accomplished speakers. But then who am I? Why you should be listening to me? Well, here is my simple case. I am a distinguished Toastmaster, which is the highest qualification in the Toastmasters educational program. Toastmasters is an international education organization that aims to further the cause of public speaking and, in a larger extent, leadership through an organization of over 16,000 clubs worldwide across more than 140 countries. I'm a distinguished Toastmaster, not once, but twice. Toastmasters International also hosts a World Championship of Public Speaking, which is an annual event. And at the time of recording this video, I have had the good fortune to represent my district in the World Championship of Public Speaking, which was held at Chicago, where I stood second in the semifinals. This year, again, I've been fortunate enough that I've made it to the district level. My district contest is on May 23rd. You will see it on May 29th. So that was about me. And if you're still with me, I congratulate you. I'm not the most, uh, how do I put it? See, even good speakers, and I'm not saying I'm a good speaker, sometimes fumble for words. I'm not the easiest of persons to be around. I'm more of an acquired taste. It does require patience to be with me. So rather than trying your patience, I'm going to dive right into the topic that we are going to cover today. If you find the content that I presented to you today helpful, be sure to share it with your friends and family, and let them benefit from some of the learnings that I have and that I am able to offer. The other thing is that whatever I'm talking about is not rocket or nuclear science. It's pretty much basic. The only thing that you need to do is practice daily. So the topic that I'm going to cover today is impromptu speaking, which is speaking off the cuff. Somebody gives you a topic, you're supposed to speak on it. Now, why would somebody give you a topic? As it so happens, there are instances when you are given topics. In daily life, you're asked for opinions. In an interview, you get asked a question out of turn. In group discussions, you come across impromptu situations. In presentations, when you're delivering presentations, a thought comes to your mind, you try to apply it. You're getting into an elevator, you want to make an elevator pitch. It's an opportunity for impromptu speaking. Also, impromptu speaking is not easy to master. Actually, it is, but for a lot of us, it is a daunting task. In Toastmasters, we have something called table topics, where we call the speakers on stage, ask them to speak for 1 to 2 minutes. And believe me, I have seen even the most experienced speakers run away from table topics. But impromptu speaking helps you to address impromptu situations. When you learn to speak impromptu, it will teach you how to come up with thoughts and then work those thoughts into words, and words into sentences, and sentences into paragraphs. The same way, when you come across impromptu situations, earlier you would run away from them, some of the scarier ones, but then through impromptu speaking, once it becomes a habit, you will also learn to respond to such impromptu situations. That was my hard sell on impromptu speaking. So how does impromptu speaking work? I believe in a very famous quote: to know the way, to go the way, and to show the way. The actual quote is: a leader is someone who knows the way, who goes the way, and who shows the way. And it is there. Don't remember the name of the author. Like I said, this is going to be unedited. But the thing is, I'm not sure if I'm a leader. But as far as impromptu speaking goes, I know the way. And today I'll go the way in the hopes that I'll be able to show you the way. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to share my screen. Just stick with me for a while. I'm going to open this to a Toastmasters table topic generator. It should actually say Toastmasters. I don't know why it says Toastmaster. The site is ratespeeches.com. I just picked up the first site that came up when I searched for table topics generator. Now here, if I click this button, it will show me a topic It will display a topic. And I'm required to speak on that topic for about a minute, or minute, minimum for 1 minute, maximum for 2 minutes, 30 seconds. I haven't generated anything on this website before, so I'm going to hit this button and let's see what comes up. And then I will talk on that topic. Mercury pollution of fish and wildlife. Okay, let's start. Before I do that, I will use my phone to set a timer and go to stopwatch, and I will start my timer so that I am able to time myself for maximum 2 minutes and 30 seconds. I will display the time that I take. Okay, I'm going to start. Pollution is a scourge that right now is holding the planet hostage. Of these, mercury pollution seems to be one of the more lethal forms of pollution. Let me tell you why. Mercury, as we all know, is the only liquid metal at room temperature. We use mercury in thermometers. We have other uses for mercury as well. What happens is that when waste is thrown into the seas or into water sources, mercury is practically insoluble in water. And because it is a liquid metal, it gets kind of assimilated with water. When that happens, the fish and the wildlife, they consume it, and it leads to poisoning. What can we do to stop mercury pollution? Well, first of all, we need better waste management. We don't want to throw random things into water bodies just because our planet is covered with more than 75% in water. What we also need to do is not just start with smart waste management activities, but also to educate the general populace to not to spread pollution, and not just mercury pollution, any kind of pollution. Summarizing, mercury pollution is a big challenge, and we need to understand how to stop pollution. More importantly, we need to educate people on how to stop pollution. And as you can see, it's 2 minutes 25 seconds and to 2 minutes 25 seconds and very close to 2 minutes 26, but I finished before 2:30. So in terms of a Toastmasters table topic, this is fine. The problem with this topic was that I did not know anything about mercury and pollution. So a lot of places I had to make a guess. So I spoke about it as it came to me. And this was my best attempt. Now, I'm going to try another topic, and then I'll come back to what we are actually, then I'll come back to talking about the structure that I'm following. I hope you were able to see some sort of a structure. If not, then the second topic will make the structure more clear. I'm going to, I'm sorry that you have to see that, but like I said, unedited videos. Let's generate another topic. And this time As soon as I hit the button, I will start my stopwatch and I will also start the topic, because in the last topic, maybe I got some time to think about it. So let's see what topic now. In my opinion, workplace forms a very important part of one's life. And I believe firmly that workplace should be a fun environment. Why is it that I am saying so? Let me explain. As human beings, we spend a large part of our life at the workplace. If you are employed, then you're supposed to spend about 8 hours of your daily life at work. That is, on an average, one third, anything between one fourth and one third of your day of your week at work. And that's a lot. If it is going to be boring and or toxic, then you've just lived almost a quarter of your life, or, or in very optimistic cases, one fifth of your life in a very toxic and a boring environment. You don't want that for yourself. You want it to be fun. You've grown up in childhood, you had fun. Maybe school was fun, college was fun. So I believe that workplace should be fun too. And there are many ways that workplace can be fun. It doesn't have to be a cushy office, a comfortable chair and a table. Many times, what makes a workplace a better environment is the people. If you've got good people, even a place with zero air conditioning will seem like heaven. If you do not have good people around you, even the best kept places will seem like a hell. So, to conclude, I want my workplace to be fun. Everything else comes later because we spend at least a fifth of our life at the workplace. All right. The clock says 2:30:29, but I stopped at 2:29. It took me a second to hit the right button. Now, I'll stop sharing the screen and let's return to normalcy. Normalcy. Did you see a pattern in both the topics? If not, let me explain. There was a definite opening, then I moved into a body, then I moved towards closing. I call it the 3S model: the start, the story, and the summary. So, whatever answer you have to an interview question, whatever answer you have to an impromptu question, you have to think of a start, the story, and the summary. Now, you cannot think of it like that, because when a question is being asked to you, there is an idea that comes to your head. Now, that idea is actually your story, which is the middle part of your answer. So begin, you start by understanding the story, relating it to the context. And now what you need to do is add a start and a summary to it. To start, one simple way is you start with a very simple statement: in my opinion, or what I think of it. Believe me, whenever you're given a topic, whenever you are asked a question, or whenever you're given a situation. You may not have a story about it, but you will have an opinion about it. And from that opinion, you can relate it to a story. And from there, you can begin your answer. You start with an opinion. So, for example, if I were to ask you, was today's session helpful for you? So, your answer could be, in my opinion, I just spent about 10 to 15 minutes of my life that I will not get back. That is your opinion. Everyone has an opinion. Even a small child has an opinion. The child expresses their opinion by crying out loud, whether they approve or disapprove. So if a small child has an opinion, then you also have an opinion. All you have to do is weave a story around that opinion. Sometimes you will have a story. All you have to do is decide what that story lends itself to. Does it lead to you agreeing with the opinion or you disagreeing with the opinion? So returning to the topic, in my opinion, I think I just spent 10 to 15 minutes of my life that I'm not getting back. The reason for that is that the speaker purported himself to be an expert on public speaking, but he was anything but an expert in public speaking. For example, he should know that the first thing to delivering a good public speech is presentation. My sense is that if he had focused on presentation, then he would have taken care of the environment around him. Probably the video could have been edited better. Probably he could have dressed up better. He was sitting there in a gray t-shirt and a blue turban. And sometimes he was rubbing his eyes. Sometimes he was rubbing his nose. Sometimes he was scratching himself. In all, it did not give a good experience. So I'm sorry to say, and this is the third part. So I'm sorry to say, but I have just spent 15 minutes of my life that I'm not getting back. Notice what I did. I started with an opinion, wove a story around the opinion, and finally I ended with an opinion. Now, let's say that if you were somehow convinced that this was actually a good usage of your time. So in my opinion, once again, start with your opinion. I think I thoroughly enjoyed the session. I know that's an exaggeration, but just stick with me, okay? I think I just enjoyed the session. The reason I enjoyed the session is because the speaker was speaking from real life experiences and the speaker was being vulnerable. He came across a topic that he was not very comfortable with. Still, he made a brave attempt. He then, when he spoke about the workplace, he appeared more comfortable, and that comfort was showing. Of course, there are some chinks in the armor. The speaker has a habit of scratching himself, but I think, given the value that I'm getting out of this video, I'll probably watch the speaker's videos again. To conclude, I believe that the speaker gave me value for my time. Again, there's a definite start, a story that is interwoven, and finally you summarize. So that's how it works. So far, I started by knowing the way because I knew the 3S model. Then I went the way by practicing the 3S model, and hopefully I've been able to show you the way. To summarize, what the way to make a 3S model work is that when you are given a topic or a situation or a question, there will be a thought that comes to your head. Now that thought can be your opinion, and that opinion can be the basis of your story. Before I close, I am going to pick up a random object on my table, and I'll try to weave a topic around that, just so you see how the 3S works. And the object that I've chosen for myself is this cookie. That seemed the easiest to reach. Yeah, I keep things I eat around me all the time. But let's see if we can start. Think of an opening. In my opinion, this cookie is delicious. It's the best thing that I can have in the morning. And I say so because there's so many ways that I can have it. For example, I can straight away take a bite and relish the taste in my mouth, or I could have it with a cup of tea where I dunk it in and then take it out and then I take a bite. Or maybe I could put together a slice of mango, plum on top, cheese, making a wonderful cookie cake, if I were to call it for want of a better term. Or I could have cheese. I could have a slice of meat, such as pork or chicken or mutton, and then I could have it. But the thing is that this is one of the tastiest things that I have had. And I love it because I can have it in so many ways. But for now, so how did you like this? Do you think this entire exercise was an attempt for me having a cookie at the end? Is there any particular topic that you would want me to discuss? Do write in your comments and feedback. My sorry, my email address is in the link. Do share any questions you have there, or you can also write in the comments box. Thank you for being such a patient audience today, and thank you for watching Rhetorical with Rupinder. I'll be back soon with another topic. Either you suggest a topic to me, or I will come up with a fresh topic. Thank you. And as they say in Spanish, hasta la vista, or more important, or as Arnold Schwarzenegger said so many times, I'll be back.